Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Robin's Nest once again. Today we're going to do something a little different. I tell you guys every day about our store and our eBay store and the t-shirts and hats and diecast and auto parts, stuff like that we sell. But today I'm actually going to show you a lot of the diecast because we have a bunch and I really need them to disappear. So I'm going to show you what we got in stock and go through and give you some details on each one of them, some of them. There's a lot, so it would be like a 3-hour video, but we're going to go through and get the gist of it. If you like to watch this, you like to listen to me ramble, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, leave a comment, the works. But without further ado, let's get into it. So like I said in one of the previous videos, we have a ton of these cars, man. We went through over the past couple of years, and I knew a guy who was selling a bunch of them, and he was basically trying to get, he'd been selling here and there, and he accumulated a lot, and then he was trying to move the stuff so he could make some more room for some other things, and I ended up buying the stuff from him for, reasonable price. So and that's where we're at. So we're stuck with all this stuff. But as you can see, it's like that right there. Kevin Harvick, 2008. Richard Childress, Daytona Special. 2-car set. Ernie Irvan, back in the day. And excuse the mess behind our tub here. I'm actually sitting in our warehouse right now. So, but as you can see, a nice little recliner to sit in, so it's not too bad. Let's say this is a 57 Chrysler. Yeah. Pretty cool car. Ricky Rudd, Hendrick Motorsports, Tide Rod. Cool car. And so this is actually a Juan Pablo Montoya tote bag. So, pretty neat. Honestly, I don't even remember where that came from, to be completely honest with you. And we have a bunch of programs. This one with Denny Hamlin on it. This is from Daytona, 2007. Here's another one with the Ganassi cars on the front. I'm assuming that's Casey Mears, Reed Sorensen, Dale Jr. I think this is 2006. Yeah, because if you'll remember, that was a throwback livery that Dale ran for his daddy. And they ran like garbage that day. He ended up spinning out and getting hit, and just didn't run very well. If I remember correctly, none of the DEI cars did that day. It's a track map for Talladega. This is a Matt Kenseth deal, signed. Old School Sports Illustrated. Tony Stewart on the cover. One of Ray's cars right there. I don't know which one that is. Can't tell if it's a 9 or a 19. 2010 official member magazine for NASCAR Members Club. There's another one. It's another program. This one is from 2006. Casey Mears. And this one's from Talladega. A bunch of cool stuff in there. Ken Schrader and his yard man get up. Pretty neat. Dale Jarrett. Honestly, I don't even remember him running that livery, to be completely honest with you. I was never crazy about Dale back in the day. I like Robert Yates and everything, but I was never wilding out about that team. Bobby Gerhart, now that's pretty cool. It's from ARCA, from back in, doesn't have a date. That's like a 2002 body Pontiac, or 2001. So I'd imagine. But I know in 2003, at least in the Busch Series, at the plate tracks, they would still run the previous year's body. So this could have easily been 2003. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, to be honest. Yeah, Barbie doll. Racing overalls. Terry Labonte of 2000, the model kit. I remember seeing these at the store when I was a kid. And so that's Hendrick Motorsports. And so yeah, there's that. Let's see what else we got here. Jimmy Spencer, 1994. Junior Johnson's team, McDonald's sponsorship. This is from the inaugural Brickyard in 1994. Let's see what else we got here. It's Bobby Labonte. It's kind of fallen loose from its mounts there a little bit, but there's that. And we have a whole bunch diecast like these. This is a DeSoto. This is the Ford truck. It's an NHRA Willis Coupe gasser. Let's see what else we got. Oldsmobile 88. Got JD McDuffie here. Look at that. Isn't that cool? I found that at a thrift store years and years and years ago. Pretty cool car. 1995 Patty Moise. A little patch stuck in there. Patty, she's I think she's still married to Elton Sawyer. Elton Sawyer, who works for NASCAR now, used to drive back in the day. But that's his wife. She used to race as well. Not very good. let me just be honest. Not very good, unfortunately. But speaking of her, there's another one. This is from 1998. This is her Bush car. Gold plated. It's Tony Stewart, 2007. And this is a race used car, so it's got rubber built up on the nose. And it got tire marks on the doors. It's a pretty cool car. So we got another gold plated. This one's Kenny Schrader's from 1998. It's Andy Petrie's Chevrolet. There's no actual sponsorship on it because it was sponsored by Skull, and you couldn't do the tobacco advertising and things like that with kids, considering this was just sold at Kmart or Walmart. You couldn't actually put the tobacco sponsorship on the car, so it just says APR on the hood and on the fenders. This is an Indy car from the 1995 Indianapolis 500. And let's see what else we got. Dale Jr. Hauler. Now this is from either 2009 or 2010. I'm not exactly sure. You put in the comments what year it's from, because I actually would like to know. But anyways, there's that. And actually have Dale Jr. drinking glasses as well. There's a set of these. So 2 of them. Some more car stuff. Publishers Clearinghouse Chrysler minivan. These are from like the late 80s. These body style vans are late 80s, early 90s. I always wanted one just because of how stupid they looked. There's a guy down the street from us that's got one for sale, but he wants like $3,000 for it. The thing's like rusted and beat all up. It's like, dude, come on. It ain't worth that. I don't care what the inflation prices are right now. Because you drive that thing for more than a mile, it's going to break down anyways. It's an old Chrysler. They're garbage. It's Jeremy Mayfield. Tech Series. I believe this is 1999. Penske Cranifus Racing. Jeremy, for those who don't remember, got ousted from NASCAR due to supposedly, according to NASCAR, taking meth. Of course, Jeremy denied that and fought it in court, which absolutely destroyed his career. And speaking of Jeremy, this is a 2-car set with Jeremy down here on the bottom. That was a Michael Cranifus car. Kmart sponsorship. And Wally Dallenbach in one of Sabco cars. First Union sponsorship. Little bank. I don't even know if that's still around, to be honest with you. It may still be. It's Bobby Isaac. For those who don't remember Bobby, he ended up retiring from NASCAR because he said he heard a voice that was telling him he needed to get out of the race car. And Anyways, he ended up dying from a heart attack not long thereafter. Mike Cope. Slim Jim. Honestly, put in the comments, let me know. I don't know what team this was. It's one of the very few I don't know. It's number 30, Busch car. I remember watching races from back then, and he didn't run good. Excuse me, but I do not remember what team that actually was. Ken Schrader and Hendrick car. Now, this was in real life sponsored by Budweiser, similar deal to his Andy Petrie car. You couldn't actually put Budweiser on a car that you would sell at Walmart or Kmart, which is where these were sold essentially. And so, considering the fact that kids would be buying them and things like that, so it just says Hendrick Motorsports on the hood rather than Bud. There's another gold-plated car, Rick Mast, Kelly Arbor's car from 1998. Thornapple Valley Meat Products sponsorship. They were kind of doing a piecemeal deal there towards the end, late 90s sponsorship. I remember there was a couple times they had Crash Bandicoot was actually on the car, the PlayStation character from the 90s. And but yeah, that was a car actually Rick Mast drove as well. I believe it was in 1998 when Rick got hurt at Texas. Not Rick. That's the car that Greg Sachs drove at Texas, and Greg got hurt. I believe that was 1998. Jeff Bonan, 1997, QVC. This was the team that he bought after Alan Kowicki was killed in 93. And, ran it himself, drove for himself, was an owner-driver. Did really good, then ended up selling the team to Matai in 98, I believe, somewhere around there. And then Michael Waltrip drove for him for a couple of years until Michael left to go to DEI, and Matai sold out to Jimmy Smith, and it ended up becoming Ultra Motorsports. But that was a car with the Nation's Rent sponsorship. Let's see what else we got here. We got John Andretti. Now this is NASCAR rules, so it comes with a template right there, if you can see it. The template goes across the top of the car. This is Petty Enterprises' car. It's from 1999. This was the year that John actually won his last race in NASCAR at Martinsville, and it was Petty Enterprises' last race win in NASCAR as well. One of my favorite races of all time because he came from a lap down. They had some stuff happen earlier in the race, and he had to come back and ended up winning the race. Tim Steele. Not exactly sure. So 1997. Tim Steele, this is ARCA car. Tim was supposed to go cup racing in the late 90s and had a bad accident. I don't remember the track, but just about killed him. And so that kind of derailed his cup plans. As good as that guy was in ARCA, he was going to be really good in cup. It's a shame, honestly. It's Terry Labonte. It's Busch car, Bayer. It's from 1997. And I'm not sure, you have to help me out with this one as well. I'm not sure if that was actually a Hendrick car or if Terry owned that car. I know the Labonte family owned their own team in the 90s in Busch Series, the 44 car that Bobby drove and Justin drove and David Green drove. But I'm not sure about this one, to be honest with you. So help me out on that one, like in the comments. It's Todd Bodine. And this was I'm not sure. I think it was 1995-ish, 6-ish. This is Butch Mock's team. The Butch, oh, for God's sakes. The Ray Mock team from back in the 80s. The Mock in Ray Mock was Butch Mock. And when that team kind of dissolved, he started his own team. And he always ran number 75. They had the Factory Stores Outlet of America sponsorship during this era, but then they ended up getting Remington, which that car's famous. Everyone remembers that car. Ted Musgrave drove it in the late 90s, so did Rick Mast and several other people. But and then they ended up closing up shop. They were never really super competitive. It was kind of a lower budget team, but they also had cool looking cars. This was one of my favorites. Todd, you got to see this car often on TV because Todd was usually crashing it, just to be honest. We got another Bobby Isaac. It's Ford Galaxy. I don't know much about this car other than that's Bobby Isaac, and this was well before my time. But this particular car came out in 1998, throwback, and sponsored by Bowman Inc. Not really sure what that was, or whether it was a towing company. A lot of those guys were sponsored by little independent garages, towing companies, and things like that back in the day. The big corporate sponsorships weren't really a thing until Richard with STP. That was kind of a big deal, but that was the first one, and they all came after that. But up until that point, usually it was just local shops and stuff like that that were sponsors on cars. And this one is Terry Labonte from 1996. This is Hendrick Carr. We got Bill Elliott's McDonald's Mac Tonight special paint scheme. I think this car ran at Richmond, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure it did. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure this Bill drove for himself. He owned this team. Fun fact that this is the team where Matt Kenseth got his start in Cup Series because Bill was hurt. I believe it was 98. And Matt filled in for him at Dover. It may have been more than one race. I'm not exactly sure, but I do remember Dover for sure. And Matt ran really good and got, I think, a top 10 finish that day. And so that was the beginning of his Cup career. But there's that one. It's Jeff Fuller, 1996. This is Busch car. I don't know the team. I do remember he had a pretty gnarly crash, I think at Texas. Don't quote me on that one either, but it is a 1.5-mile track where it happened. And he nosed it into the fence, and I remember the car caught fire for a brief moment. But Jeff Fuller is a modified driver. He was a journeyman in NASCAR, but in the upper ranks. But in modifieds, the guy could drive the wheels off of a car in modified series. So let's see what else we have. So we got a 1958 Impala Turtle Wax. Got a 1966 Charger. Hayes clutches. And we've got Ted Musgrave from 1997. Roush Racing. Family Channel. We used to watch the Family Channel all the time. And Prime Star, we used to have a massive Prime Star dish in our backyard that was huge. It was big enough that we could slide down it as kids. Massive. Ted drove this car for a few years. Never won a race. Came close on a couple occasions, but never did. And ended up being let go in favor of Kevin LePage, which did not go over well either. And Ted went to Butch Mock's team, like I said earlier, in the Remington car, and then ended up going truck racing and whipped him in Truck Series for Jim Smith until Jim Smith's team closed up shop after 2005. Ted won the championship in the Truck Series 2005. Finally, Jim Smith had never won the championship before. He got close and close and close. Thought they'd won it in 2003, but Ted at Homestead jumped out of line, tried to make a pass on a restart before it crosses our finish line. It's a big no-no, and so cost them the championship. They finally won it in 2005. Speaking of Kevin LePage, it's from 1995. This is Busch car. Vermont Teddy Bear sponsorship. I believe Kevin owned this team, if I'm not mistaken, and ran pretty good. Kevin was a really good Busch driver, really good. In Cup, he had some good runs here and there, but he was never a consistent front runner. I know when I started watching it real hot and heavy, it was around 2002, 2003. I had been watching it prior to that, but that's when I really remember watching it. And he started driving for Morgan McClure and had some decent runs in that car. But this is his Busch ride from back in the day. Bobby Labonte, 1996, Joe Gibbs. We all remember that car. Haas Ellington, It's a Mercury Cyclone. Now, fun story. I don't know much about Haas, but because I remember hearing his name when I was a kid, I call everyone in my family Haas when I'm talking to him. Like, yeah, you got that right, Haas. Something like that. Just because of this dude. I mean, I don't. Shamefully, I don't know much about the guy. Okay? But, thanks to him, everyone hears Haas come out of my mouth all the time, for better or worse. There it is. Speaking of Todd Bernard, this is, I believe, 1992. This is Frank Cece's car. 34 Busch Series, Grand National Series, I think is what it was called then. Buick. So there's that. Dale Jarrett, 1995. Robert Yates, Haviland. This is a famous car. Everyone remembers this car. It's a car Davey drove in the early 90s, excuse me. And yeah, and then I think Dale, it was either 96, 97. I think it was 96 when they switched him over to the 88. I believe when Ernie came back, because Ernie got hurt and then came back. I think that's how that went. I'm not exactly sure, but I think so. Buddy Arrington. This is a Dodge Daytona. Or a Plymouth Superbird. One of the two. It's Dodge. So it's Dodge Daytona. This is the car I was talking about the other day too, by the way. With the Gen 6, how they had the sides of the cars were basically like parasails that would straighten you back out when you got sideways. This car, if you look right here, see those panels? Or those supports for the spoiler. So they've got a little mast to them. You can see right there. So when these cars would get loose, out of control, they turn sideways, the crosswind would hit that right there and literally straighten the car back out. So the reason why these cars won all the time, that had a lot to do with it. It's another Todd Bonan Butchmont cars from 1995. Here's Rick Mast, I believe 1992-ish. Somewhere in that ballpark. This car was also sponsored by Skoal, so you know, like I said, they couldn't put Skoal on the car if they're going to sell it at retail stores. So they put Magic Hotel. I believe that says hotel. Magic something or another. And here is John Andretti from 1995. It's Michael Cranifus's car, sponsored by Little Caesars and Kmart. Which, by the way, I miss Kmart. I know Kmart was like the poor person's version of Walmart, I think is what it was supposed to be. I'm not really sure. We used to go there all the time, man. That was like our place to shop as a family. Like we weren't wealthy by any stretch of the imagination when we were kids. My parents weren't. So Kmart was like our stop, man. I grew up in Gardendale, Alabama, and so we had a Kmart right downtown Gardendale. We'd go there all the time. I ended up working there when I was a teenager, actually. Good times. It's a thrift store now, so that's good. This is Bobby Hamilton 2000. It's a special livery. We're sponsored by the Navy. You see there. It's on the hood as well. This is the Morgan McClure team. Bobby had some good runs. He left Petty Enterprises to go to Morgan McClure in '99, or after the '98 season, I believe it was, or it may have been prior to that. It was in that ballpark. And anyways, he drove for them for a couple of years before going to Andy Petrie in 2001. And he won a race or two with Morgan McClure in that time span. He also, at Martinsville, Bobby was known to be a short track chassis specialist, and so he was always really good there, and then he was always really good at plate tracks too. And with Andy, I know he won Talladega or Daytona, I think Talladega. It was one of those caution-free races, total snooze fest, but, well, I say total snooze fest, there was still passing and legitimate racing going on for it to be caution free. But anyways, it's another one of the NASCAR rules cars with the template across the top of it. This is Ward Burton. Oh my god, I'm going to say his name like he says it. Ward Burton, 2000. Wood Brothers. Bill Davis Racing Pontiac. So last year they ran Pontiacs before they went to Dodge in 2001 when Dodge came back. And it's a pretty cool car. That's Bill Davis. That's one of those teams I never would have imagined in a million years would have went belly up, but they did, unfortunately. It's another program. It's 2006 Daytona. Now keep in mind, all this stuff is for sale on our eBay page, so make sure to check out. The link will be in the description, so check it out. Because all this stuff is on there. All of it. It's Larry Frank, Ford Galaxy. Also before my time. I do know a little bit about Larry. Not a great deal. Enough to where I can entertain a conversation about him. That's about it. Here's Ernie Irvin, 92, I think. Or 91. It's a Morgan McClure Chevrolet. Lumina. Ernie left that team and went to Robert Yates and started smoking everybody. Here's a good one. Terry Labonte from 1993. 14 Kellogg's Chevrolet. When he left this team and he went to Hendrick and brought the Kellogg sponsorship with him. Pretty cool. Randy LaJoy, 1994. This is Busch car, sponsored by Fina and Lentz Crackers. Larry Pearson, 1996. Stanley, Busch car. David Pearson's son, in case you're wondering. It's Lake Speed. Kelly Yarborough's car. Phillips, 66 sponsorship. I believe this is Kelly Yarborough's car, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'm right about that. Mike McLaughlin. It wouldn't be McLaughlin. Okay. So, quick question. Is it McLaughlin or is it McLaughlin? Because Scott in IndyCar, if I'm not mistaken, his name is spelled McLaughlin, not McLaughlin. And same thing with Mike, but I always heard everybody call him McLaughlin when I was watching racing. So, back in the day. So, which one is it? I don't know. It really confuses me. I don't understand that. But, anyways, that's his car from 1996. This is Frank CC owned Chevrolet Royal Oak Charcoal sponsorship. It's 34 team. They were around for a while, then they left, and then they came back. If you'll remember, I think it was 2006 that Paul Tracy drove for them in a couple of races, and he had Sports Clip sponsorship, and I believe it was still the number 34. Paul Tracy's an IndyCar legend, whether you like him or not. He's a legend. A lot of people don't like him because of his attitude and stuff, but anyways, when he dipped his toes in NASCAR, this is who he drove for. It's another Jeremy Mayfield. This one's 1999. I'm sorry, this is 1998. This is Celebration Edition. Penske Ford. This is the Pocono race, and I believe this is the Pocono race where he knocked Dale Earnhardt out of the way on the last lap to get the win. And turnabout's fair play, or you live by the sword, you die by the sword, that kind of thing. And I think Buddy Baker actually said that during the telecast when it happened. Yeah, there's that. We have another NASCAR rules. This one's Terry Labonte. This Hendrick Chevrolet's from 2000 with the template across the top. Then we also have a bunch of newer ones. These are within the past couple of years. Corey LaJoy, Haley Deegan, Daniel Suarez, Chastain, Stenhouse. This is Bobby Labonte from 2000 with the NASCAR Racers special livery. NASCAR Racers was a cartoon that they aired I believe in 99 to 2000. It didn't last very long because it wasn't very good. But that's what that is. It's special livery. Celebrate that show. And here we go. Here's an oldie. How about Brett Bodine and the Crisco Bud Moore Engineering Ford? He never did anything in this car. It's just an also ran. But this, Bud Moore's team was also in the process of kind of falling off a cliff too. Sort of. But yeah. Now here's a couple more that weren't in the tub that are for sale. So you have Kerry Earnhardt. It's from 2002. Also Kerry Earnhardt from 2002. These are Fitz Bradshaw Chevrolets. This was his rookie year with the team. I believe it's 2002, may have been 2001. Somewhere in there. Dale Jr. 2002. This car he ran at Charlotte and wiped out pretty severely. Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd, Kevin Harvick, Rusty Wallace, Jeremy Mayfield, and Kentucky Derby 2-pack. Kevin Harvick with his original livery from 2002 and his Sylvania special livery, I believe, that ran at New Hampshire. Todd Bodine in the Tabasco Fiasco. And some of these aren't listed, but I'll get around to it. Dave Blaney, Ryan's daddy. It's from 2000. It's Bill Davis Pontiac. That one's supposed to be race used, essentially, so it's got tire marks down the side. There's his teammate from 2000, Ward Burton. If there's one thing I've learned from collecting all this stuff over the past few years, is that I've got a lot of useless knowledge. I'm not bragging, but the fact that I can sit here and tell you details about each one of these cars, essentially, is either sad or impressive. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, which one it is, what it falls under, which category. I'm a huge fan of old NASCAR, especially the stuff from when I was growing up in the late 90s and early 2000s. It was kind of like the last hoorah, I think, from NASCAR. Once they switched over, they got rid of the Gen 4, was I think the first domino to fall. And then when they, in 2004, when they brought in the Chase, it wasn't so bad there for the first year or two, and then they started tinkering with it, and it just got worse and worse and worse till you have what you have now, which is it doesn't even mimic a racing series anymore. It's more like it's just a show. It's not. Let me put it this way: it's not motorsports anymore. It's motorsports entertainment, and there's a big distinction between the two. Those are not even close to being the same things anymore. I do like some of the liveries and stuff on cars now, but overall, I just think that in the 2000s and the late 90s, it was just far better. And that's my personal opinion. You're entitled to your own opinion, and I don't hold anything against you if you disagree with that. That's just where I stand on it. The sport, there's one thing you can't argue, is the sport was more popular back then. That is just a fact. And I think there was several reasons for that. I don't think it was down to, a lot of people say it's because technology's changed and the way people consume things are different than what it used to be, and then they try to say that kids just aren't interested in cars anymore like they were back then. I don't think that's necessarily true, especially on that latter point about kids not being interested in cars anymore. I do not believe that. I don't. I refuse to believe it. I don't care if you hit me with facts and you show me something concrete. I'm not going to believe that. I refuse to. It's too depressing, and it will destroy me, because I will lose all hope for the future if kids are just like overwhelmingly not into cars like what they used to. I can't. That's causing me anxiety just thinking about it. If that is the case, there's no hope for our future, for the future of this country, for the future of this world. If kids are just kind of like, oh, we want to switch everything over to electric, yeah, okay, whatever, who cares? As long as I can get from point A to point B, I don't care. No, No, it does not need to be that way. It does not need to be that way. But I will say this. I will leave you on one new news update. GM is reversing course on its EV funding and instead is investing millions of dollars into R&D into their latest V8 internal combustion engine. So what does that tell you? I mean, it depends on leadership in the White House. And I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent about who's in right now or who was in prior. You know, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's fine. But one good thing that is happening now is the push for EVs across the board is not what it was a year ago. Okay, and that's one thing I can say unequivocally that I'm stoked about. I'm happy about. And so hopefully it'll stay that way moving forward, because as far as the pollution and stuff goes with combustion engines, I don't think it's significant enough to make that much of a difference. The sun's going to do its thing. The sun controls everything. And it's going to do its thing no matter what. We can't control that. So, anyways, I'm getting off topic. If you enjoyed watching this, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on notifications, the works. If you're interested in any of that stuff that I just showed you, and we've got more, you saw the tote, there's plenty of stuff still in there, and we've got like 3 or 4 other totes full of that stuff. So make sure to check out our eBay. The link is in the description. We also, what I didn't show you, and I'll probably show you tomorrow or something like that, is we have t-shirts, we have hats, and this is all officially licensed stuff. So not anything that we made. This is stuff from NASCAR and from their vendors and stuff like that over the years. So make sure to check that out. Link is in the description. Store-wide sale for another month, 10% off. May bump that up. I don't know. We'll kind of see how this goes first. But in the meantime, I appreciate you watching. Till next time, we'll see you. Peace.
És 100 fölfele. 100 fölfele, jobb 2 tempó, 20-ra bal 2 tempó, 25-ra bal 2 tempó, 25-re bal 2 szűk, bal 2 szűk, és bal 2, majd 50-re jobb 2, itt a bal 2, és 50-re jobb 2, majd szűk 50-re jobb 3 az aszfaltra, szűk 50-re jobb 3 az aszfaltra.